What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of In-Laws and Out of Bounds. I'm your host, Hagen. Sitting across from me here is our other host, Emilio, and we are excited to be back, guys. We are getting into it. The football season is rolling, man. We've got two-a-days starting. You've got college football camps going. You've got NFL training camps going. Everything is rolling, and we are super excited for it. We're going to continue today our preview, finish up our college football preview. We're not going to stop talking about it before the season starts, obviously, but just get through the conference previews. We've got the ACC left. We're going to look at the group of five and the smaller conferences and pick some winners out of there. We're not going to go as deep of a dive in the ACC as we have with the SEC, the Big 10, the Big 12. This one's going to be kind of a little quicker. Then we're going to get over to the NFL, talk about training camp. We'll look at some Super Bowl odds. We'll look at MVP odds. We'll look at all the good betting props that we have out there for the upcoming season. Look at some key things in training camp. Talk about some Dallas Cowboy football. I guess we'll talk maybe a little bit out some New Orleans Saints football. I don't know. We'll see what comes to mind. There's making some moves over there, letting go of some people already, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. We're super excited. We're here, so we appreciate everything. We do have some things coming up in the works too. So we did our interview the last episode with Uvalde's Wade Miller, and it went fantastic. We appreciate all of those of you that reached out to us and let us know, hey, it was a good, good recording for our first interview. We feel like we did all right, Emilio?
We did a bang up job.
I think so. I mean, for a couple hillbillies walking around trying to figure it out,
Hell yeah,
all
bro.
right. I hadn't even asked you what's going on, man. I'm sorry. What's up?
Nothing, man. We're here. Football season is within smelling distance now. I can smell the grass. I can hear the sound. It's all coming back. 2-a-days started.
Yeah.
You mentioned that. It's a hell of a time to be alive. We're getting closer and closer.
And it's here no matter if you like it or if you don't like it. If football season's not your deal, I'm sorry.
There are Paralympics.
There's all kinds of
NBA.
There are people out there that are not happy about football season being here and us covering the football season. I mean, it's our bread and butter, guys. I'm sorry. It is what it is, but we're super stoked for it, and we're excited. We do have some really cool things. I know we've talked about it. We're trying to work up here, and we want to continue our interview stuff as well. Not only we're going to finish a couple local spots here and get some things under our belt, but we're really hoping to get some other people that are big influences in some other programs throughout the state mainly, and bring that stuff on. So we're excited about that, and we've got some things working there, right? We got some new segments that we're going to keep weekly that hopefully y'all get involved in. If y'all have anything that you'd like to see, I mean, shoot us a message, let us know, and maybe we can sneak something in there. So anyways, yep. Make sure that we want to shout out our sponsors, official sponsors, Brewster Bird Hunts. Dove season is right around the corner, folks. And there's not a south zone or north zone. It's an all zone this year. So September 1st, it is go time. And if you want to make sure that you're ready and in the best spot, look no further than Brewster Bird Hunts. They got the best guides, the best dogs, and the best birds all over. I'm not just talking about South Texas. I'm talking about all of Texas. So make sure that you check them out. They're on Facebook and Instagram. They've got videos out there. There are dove all over the place. So make sure you give them a shout. Tell Landon and the crew that we sent you. Check them out at www.brewsterbirdhunts.com, the number one source for dove in all of Texas. And we may have another sponsor soon. We're not gonna break it. We're not like the unfortunately, we're not like the Peg Pod over there that gets a bunch of sponsors all the time, whatever they're doing to get these sponsorships, but it's okay. We're gonna keep walking, working away here and doing our thing. So we're blessed with the one that we have, and it's the best one that anybody has. So it's all good. Anyways, what I missed, Emilio? Oh, check us out on social media. We're gonna be posting a lot more reels and all kinds of stuff. So make sure you check us out on there. Give us a like, subscribe if you're on YouTube. We greatly appreciate it. We have a great YouTube following, and we appreciate you guys so much. So yeah.
Yeah, guys, we're not the best at a whole lot of things, but one thing we are good at is talking shit. So by all means, bring it.
Yes, bring it. We want it. We
enjoy it.
We do enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. So anyways, all right. Well, let's, what do you say we just dive right into this, huh? You good with that? Let's just get right into it. All right. Oh, all right. ACC football. Where we left off here. So going into it, obviously the biggest storylines of here is, can Miami recreate the magic that they had at the end of the season? Obviously, sneaking into the playoff, even though Duke won the ACC championship, Miami had obviously was the better team. They were proven, even on paper, all that kind of stuff. You saw it, and there's nobody doubt in their minds that Miami should have got in over Duke. But Miami sneak into the playoffs. They make the magical run all the way to the national championship game, give it a good run for their money. Indiana, that is. And they're looking to make a bounce back. They've got some guys that have come back as well. There's some transfers, quarterback transfers. They got playmakers all over the field again. So Miami is looking to take that step and continue to be the showcase of the ACC. Coaches on the hot seat. You got Mike Norvell over in Florida State. What's going to happen with Florida State? What kind of ball club are we going to see Florida State have this year? That's an interesting one. It seems like they didn't want to buy him out. Not that they didn't have the money, they just didn't want to spend the money to buy a name like Mike Norvell out, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see. Are they just going to let this play out? Does he actually have one more trick up the sleeve to keep his job?
I think the trick better be to win a national championship. Otherwise, I think he's toast.
No double-digit win season saves his career?
I don't think so.
Not his career, but his job.
I don't think so, only because he's had that one undefeated season or partially undefeated season where they didn't get in, and there was the biggest uproar, but they were a dog shit football team anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered.
Yep. Florida State cinnamon rolls. They had it. They had a chance. They got stuffed that year just because their quarterback went down, which, yes, they became a worse team, but they probably still the body of work they had, they should have got in. I'll say that.
It's Florida State. That is a landmark program. That's up there with the Notre Dames, the Alabamas. That's a keystone program. So to me, it's one of those where I don't think any of those fans are content with letting their image fade into, well, we just got a double-digit win season. That's good enough. I don't think they're content with that.
Does the chatter start back up if Dion can have somewhat of a good season in Colorado? And Colorado's standard of a good season is 7 wins, 8 wins. That's always been right there. And Norvell goes down in flames. Does that chatter come back for Dion to come back to Florida State?
From my perspective, I think the Dion experiment has run its course.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I just feel like there could be some national headlines making that way.
Well, and that's the one thing that, you mention it, and it almost makes sense because he does draw recruits. And Florida's a big area to be recruiting from. So
yep.
If his issue in Colorado is not having the recruits, well then, Florida State would cure that, and that could be, harmonious marriage there. But I think most people they're not drinking the Kool-Aid anymore, for lack of better terms.
It seems like too big of a job for him. And that's crazy to say about somebody who's primetime. Like, he's literally been there, done that at every stage of his career, essentially. But it does seem like it's too big of a job.
Now, what wouldn't surprise me is good old used goods Fisher coming back.
No, he burned that bridge. No, he burned that bridge. I don't see Jimbo Fisher. I don't know if I could see Jimbo Fisher ever coaching. And I guess you never say never, but I mean, he's living high on the hog, still getting paid, what is it, $10 million a year by A&M?
Yeah, he still has
he still has 4 or 5 years of that to go. Old boy's he's showing up at the first round of the playoffs at Kyle Field going, I love you guys. You're, making me a rich man. So yeah, no, I don't think Jimbo's going to be back in it anytime soon. Within the ACC too, you've got new faces as well. And I think when we talk about teams that are going to be sleepers here, you look at one in particular in Virginia Tech, and what does James Franklin bring to this Virginia Tech team? I think that they are probably, and I I think a lot of people agree that they're probably the hardest to pinpoint what kind of season that they are going to actually have, because there's so much uncertainty here. He didn't bring over a lot of people from Penn State, but he did bring over a good, decent chunk. And the things that he was able to do at Vanderbilt and Penn State, he put both of those programs at a different level by the time he left than they were before. You can say he had shortcomings at Penn State all you want, but they were consistently a top 10 team. And he was in the semifinals the year before he got fired. So James Franklin has proven that he can take a program and build it. Virginia Tech has shown that they want to invest in this program and they want to be a force. And I think they see the ACC and see how truly open it is and say, hey, we can build ourselves up and be something here. What do you think about the Hokies this year?
Yeah, I think I'm definitely on board with them being the sleeper. Obviously, there's huge mountains to overcome whenever you bring in a new football coach and you bring in all these recruits, because everything has to come together. We talk about that all the time, and that's a feat within itself. So I'm not saying that this year they're gonna make the college football playoff by any means, but I certainly don't expect them to be at the bottom of the middle of the ACC anymore. This is Virginia Tech is another program that, historically has had success. I think they were one of the most winningest programs there for the better part of a decade, where they would consistently get 9 to 10 wins year after year. They never reached the ultimate goal, but they were touted as a decent football team.
Yep.
And I think the thing that strikes me the most with James Franklin being there is that nobody's really setting these crazy expectations like they did when he went to Penn State.
Yep.
As big of a marquee name as Virginia Tech is, it's not Penn State. That's a different tier of class. And I think at Virginia Tech, it's, let's just get back to relevancy, where at Penn State, it's let's get back to a national championship program. So I think that's one thing that, it's one of those intangible things where pressure is placed on somebody just on the role itself. And I think there's significantly less pressure. I hate to say like nonsense like that, but I feel like it is a real thing sometimes. And this is one of those cases. And I think at Virginia Tech, he gets to just go out there and coach. And if he goes out and wins 9 games, I think people would be thrilled with it. Whereas, in the past at Penn State, that wouldn't have been the case. So I think it'll be a big turnaround for them. I see him having success for sure. Maybe not this year, but I feel like it will. But then, the next couple of years is when I feel like it'll really take off.
Yeah, for sure. You go from one coach that was on the hot seat last year and ultimately ended up getting burnt, to another coach who is very successful in his tenure at Clemson, who seems to be coming into this year that potentially is on the hot seat. If it's not hot, if it's not scalding by now, it's definitely very warm at this point, right? And Dabo Swinney, who's coming into his 18th year, and it's hard to imagine a coach as established or as accomplished as Dabo being on the hot seat. But the regression that we've seen over the past couple years, right, of them being true contenders and them being in it, is one that's been very noticeable, right? They go from being the preseason number 4 last year to finishing with the 7-6 record. Dabo seemed like he was behind on the times just when he would get in the media and the things that he would say, just not wanting to be a part of the transfers. And I can respect all that as far as, hey, I'm not going to bow to the NIL. But right now we're kind of at a point, if you're not going to play the game's going to leave you behind, right? So there's some things that he has to do there as far as he's going to be bringing on a new quarterback here this year. They've got some different guys on the defensive line that they're going to have to be replacing as well. So it is going to be it's going to be very interesting. So they have 7 new offensive starters going into this year and a defense that lost 3 top 50 NFL draft picks. So they do have a lot of talent that they have to replace going into this year. What does that look like? I mean, what is a successful season for Clemson? In my mind, it's a double-digit win. I don't know if Clemson can actually go compete. They're a team right now to me that's a sleeper, or potentially is going to be on the biggest disappointment list like they were last year. So
yeah, I think that's the I think it's an unfortunate situation for Dabo because I feel like, it wouldn't be that big of a deal this year being a 7-6 or an 8-5 team. But with last year being what it was and underperforming by most people's standards, I feel like, you mentioned that the seat's definitely warm. And if you go 7-6, which I fully expect with a squad that lost that many players, uh, I think it becomes a problem then. And then
Yeah.
you mentioned it, he's one of those guys that's trying to keep the game pure by his standards and refuses to bend a little bit to the modern way. If he's not able to reach double digits, I don't see how this continues on much longer. And there's going to be a school out there that would be happy to scoop him up and, take him in. But I think he likes Clemson, and, kudos to him for trying to maintain his morals. You know, I'm all on board with it, but you also have to win. So that's
Yeah.
where it gets a little unfortunate for Dabo.
It
And
feels.
I just don't know. I don't see them being that successful this year. And I could be way wrong, but you had Cade Klubnik, who was a decent quarterback, Heisman favorite early on, and that just didn't pan out that well. So
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
What are you thinking about these
It,
factors?
it feels like Dabo's done everything he can do at Clemson. It just
That's
feels
kind
that
of where I'm
way,
at.
and I truly feel like the times have just kind of passed him, and he's just one of those old school guys that, and I respect it. I don't have a problem with being anti NIL, right? It's and maybe not completely anti NIL to where some of the players shouldn't be getting what they a little bit of what they deserve, but how frequently somebody can just up and leave and do these kind of things. Like I don't completely disagree with all of that. So there's a lot to look in there. I just feel like the time has passed between Dabo and Clemson. Could they prove us wrong this year? 100%. I mean, anything could happen, but it just doesn't feel like that's going to happen with the amount of talent that they have to replace and him being so, back office to doing some of the new stuff, right? So,
Right.
anyways, yep. Moving over to a team here in Texas that last year was 4 points away from being in the ACC championship game, a team that has their eyes on getting a college football playoff berth, the SMU Mustangs. You've got Rhett Lashie, who's coming into his fifth year. He's 38-17 overall at his time there. They lost to Wake Forest last year, 13-12. Then they lost to California, 38-35. That was a wild game that was back and forth there towards the end. They just, they were right there. They're returning Kevin Jenkins Jr., who the dynamic quarterback there, who's going to be able to run that offense and continue to push them forward. Their recruits, one thing you talk about somebody that has been heavy transfer, there's something here too with Lashie. He started off like in his first couple years having 30 plus transfers, and every single year it's trickled down. He only had 16 transfers this year. So something definitely going on over there in SMU and up in Fort Worth area. It'd be really interesting. A lot's going to be riding on Kevin Jenkins here. He's going to be returning for his senior season. So in 26 starts, he's produced a total QBR of 76 or higher 13 times. In those games, SMU has gone 12-1. In the other games where he's fallen under 50 7 times, SMU went 3-4. So a lot rides on Jenkins' shoulders to make sure that he's playing his, maybe not necessarily A ball, but he has to be B or better to make sure SMU is competitive in these games and winning actually. So they've got a couple, a pair of sophomore running backs that are coming back. He's got some receivers there too. So it'll be interesting to see what SMU can do, especially being right on the cusp of that ACC championship game and just not being able to bring it all the way home. Here.
Yeah, I think SMU is one of those programs that I think both of us are pretty high on coming into this year. I was surprised by what they put together last year, and they've had some quietly good seasons in the past couple of years. I think definitely Kevin Jenkins has quite a bit on his shoulders, but I think he's a quarterback that is capable of handling it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only thing that stares at me is what are they going to do defensively? Defensively, I think is where, whether it's an ACC, anybody outside of the SEC and the Big Ten, it's like if you can get some defense, you have a chance. And they have a decent offense. So now it's just what's that defense going to bring to the table, and is it going to be enough to compete with, the Miamis of the ACC?
Yep. 100%. Speaking of the Miamis for the ACC, obviously, I think that there's no surprise here. Probably both of our picks to win the conference this year, the Miami Hurricanes, coming off of what we talked about, the big run to the national championship. Obviously, they're going to have to replace their two bookends in Akeem Mesidor and Ruben Bain. You do have Carson Beck, who also departed due to running out of eligibility, and there's some other pieces along that offensive line that went in the first round. They lost 4 starters on the offensive line, and they've only brought 1 transfer in. They're going to be relying on a lot of youth here to fill those gaps, guys that they have developed themselves to come in. But they did go out and they were able to get some talent to help out the talent that they have on deck already with
Malachi Tony.
Malachi Tony, thank you. I was failing to pronounce his first name, but they went out. They got Darian Mincy, who came over from Duke, the last year's ACC champion team. He threw for over 3,900 yards and 34 touchdowns with only 6 picks last. He is a big play guy. He's mobile. He does things that Carson Beck at times he was actually a little mobile and he moved around in the pocket, but Darn coming over, he's got more zip to his throws. He's more confident in what he does, and playing with the weapons that you had at Duke versus what they have here at Miami. Not only talking about Malachi Tony, but they went out and they got guys that make big plays. They went another guy coming over from Duke is Cooper Barquette. He on average averages 15.4 yards a reception. They went out and got West Virginia's Cam Vaughn, who averages 15.5, and they got South Carolina's Vanderus Jacobs, who averages 17.1. I'm actually very happy that I pronounced that name that easily. But not only to go out and get those guys, you have Malachi Tony, who can get the ball. He did it in all different kinds of ways. He had just over 1,300 all-purpose yards last year, 11 touchdowns, a lot of screens, bubble passes. He can get it in the backfield. He can go deep. He's a dynamic punt returner, kick returner, all those kind of things. And then he can turn around and hand the ball off to Mark Fletcher Jr. They also have Shamar Brown, and they've got Pringle in the backfield too. So they have a lot of weapons on this Miami team. And I think they realized towards the end of the year is like, hey, we need some bigger playmakers than what we had towards the end of last year, right? They were still in it. They still had opportunities. Mark Fletcher Jr., that guy can, pound the rock through the tackles, wear you down, and then he just waits for his opportunity and he can explode and make a crazy play at any point. So they have it now. Miami not only went and did that, they have some good guys on defense because they're having to place a lot of production on that side of the ball as well. But they do have some guys that you need to remember. Ahmad Morton Sr., he's going to be coming over. He's probably going to be considered right now a first-round draft pick that's going to be happening here. So keep an eye out for him. They have Boston College Omar Thornton that came over. They've got corners and Xavier Lucas, Ethan O'Connor. There's a lot of guys here on this defensive side of the ball. They're going to help pick up where Akeem Mesidor and Ruben Bain left off, and they're going to be fine because they got a lot of athletes. So,
yeah, I think obviously the youth on the offensive line is going to be a little bit of a concern, but if you look at what they got in Darian Mensah, that's a guy who, like you mentioned, is mobile, and then you have all of those weapons. When you have a mobile quarterback that has experience with, maybe not having the best protection in front of him, that takes a little bit off that youthful offensive line. But then you also have Mario Cristobal, who was an offensive lineman himself, who knows what it takes to get his guys where they need to be and can speak the right language to them. So I don't see that being a massive issue for them when you add in the mobility of the quarterback and what different dynamic that brings from what they had last year to an already pretty explosive offense. I think I'm not that concerned about their offense. Their defense does concern me a little bit because Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor were absolute problems, and that makes it a little bit easier on the offense too when your defense can just absolutely wreak havoc anywhere.
Yeah,
they go. So but I don't see a world where they shouldn't run the table in the ACC.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Miami's going to run the table. You'll have SMU, in my opinion, that will probably be right there to get competing for a college football playoff spot. And then you look at Pittsburgh. Virginia had a solid year last year, but I don't think Virginia's going to be right there. So, and then Clemson's going to be a sleeper as well that could do something in Louisville too. We failed to mention Louisville so far, but I would definitely, if there's teams to know, look out for Louisville. Keep SMU on your radar. Virginia Tech, we don't know what Virginia Tech's going to be. And then you also have Pittsburgh, who has Heidenstickle is going to be coming back. He was a good player last year. I just don't know if he has the pieces around him and the defense to really help him truly compete for an ACC championship or even a college football playoff spot at that.
You're forgetting a big sleeper.
Who's that?
The North Carolina Tar Heels.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, no, I'm not. Bill Belichick's just over there playing grab ass with his girlfriend. He's not. That old boy. Now, I guess if North Carolina comes out and they're world beaters and it's because of Bill Belichick, would we be surprised? I guess not. I mean,
you know, it was one of my favorite.
I just don't see it happening whatsoever.
One of my favorite things that happened last year.
What's that?
Was that first game of the season between North Carolina and TCU, and North Carolina had those first two drives, and I got a text message from somebody. You want to know who that somebody was?
Was it Joey?
No, it was you.
Oh, was it?
And you said, "Holy shit, North Carolina!"
Yeah.
And then they went on to not score the rest of the season.
Probably so. Yeah. Well, I guess I think everybody was worked up when they saw that, and you go back and. Hey, maybe you should just let things play out a little longer than two drives and see what happens. I guess it's kind of like, it's the Colorado effect, right? Wait till they go play Oregon and they get trampled. So, anyways.
Jeez.
So best players in the league. There's fantasy football that's coming out for college football too here. So there's some guys that if you're looking at it and you're going to be in a fantasy football league on the college football side, the ACC announced 11 players to the Maxwell Award watch list, and the Maxwell Award recognizes the outstanding player in college football. So basically, if you don't win the Heisman, the runner-up typically wins this Maxwell Award unless, the Heisman was just completely fantastic for whatever reason. So we've got 11 guys here. I'm going to mess this one up bad, this first one. Jaron Kiwi Sagapotelli. He is a quarterback for California.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So he's on that list. Nate Shepard, the running back for Duke. Deuce Robinson Sr., he's wide receiver at Florida State. Justice Haynes.
What was that name?
Huh?
What was that name?
Is it? It's D-U-C-E. How do you say that? Duke? Deuce? I don't know. Duke? Oh, it's Duke, right? I don't know. I said Deuce because it. Yeah.
I thought you said douche.
Douche? No, I said Deuce, but it's Duke Robinson. I apologize. Wide receiver, Florida State. Justice Haynes, Sr., running back for Georgia Tech. Which, hey, Georgia Tech, they got DeAndre Hopkins as their wide receiver coach. He said if you want to be a great NFL receiver, go to Georgia Tech. So I don't think he got anybody to go, but he said it. So Isaac Brown Jr., running back for Louisville. Darren Mesha, he was quarterback for Miami. Malachi Toney, wide receiver for Miami. Mark Fletcher Jr., running back Miami. CJ Bailey Jr., quarterback for North Carolina State. Watch out for CJ. He had some good plays last year. He really did play some good football last year, so that's a good one. Mason Heinsneckle for Pittsburgh, and then Kevin Jenkins for SMU as well. So that's your 11 Maxwell Award watch list, ACC selections. That's who the ACC actually selected to represent that conference to be there. So they're highly thought of there. So anyways, so that's who we got. Who do you think is going to be in the actual championship game?
I'm going to say Miami and SMU.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Miami, SMU, Miami, Louisville, one of the two. So
if it's not SMU, then I'm going to say the Golden Bears.
Oh yeah, you think
Yeah,
they're going to make that big of a swing?
Sagabatoli is a real dog.
Mm-mm. We'll see. I don't think they can stop anybody on defense, so that's a problem.
That could be a potential problem.
Yeah, for sure. So, anyways, that's the ACC. Miami's going to be the winner. I don't know if the ACC gets a second team out. They're going to have to hope some Big Ten and SEC teams fall off to get a second team in. They're just not strong enough, and especially with Notre Dame playing a 5-game schedule of the ACC, they're basically an ACC team without actually being in the conference. Truly, I mean, really, Notre Dame, they play 5 league games with the ACC, and essentially they're going to take one of the ACC spots. So
Yeah.
that was a big deal between Notre Dame and them because they're getting all these benefits, but the actual conference wasn't getting any benefits from Notre Dame, being involved in this. So lots to see there. Just typical Notre Dame stuff with the independent thing and all that good thing. So, anyways, on to the group of 5. Some rapid fire stuff here. We're going to go conference by conference. We're not going to break it down necessarily as big into this on all the teams, but we will go conference by conference. So, who do you want to start with? You want to start with the American?
Yeah, let's go now.
How do you want to go? All right, so we're going to go with the American Conference here. Who are you taking?
I'm going to take the Navy midshipman.
You're going to take the Navy midshipman. Hey, that's a good one. America. All right. I'm going to take the oldest team in college football. The UTSA Roadrunners, baby. And Jeff Traylor. We're going to win the ACC, the AAC this year, excuse me. And before we get into this, because we are truly a Texas football thing. I want for those of us that are local and that follow this, I want to give you 5 names to watch for this UTSA football team this year, just so you can follow along, right? Starting off with the most important position, quarterback, with Owen McCown here, right? So Owen McCown, he comes in, he's got a record of 6,800 yards, 59 touchdowns to 20 interceptions in his career. He can throw the rock. He does pretty good. He comes out, and he was definitely one of the top quarterbacks in the American. He finished 6th in the passing yards. So just last season, he threw for 2,900 yards, five shy of 3,000. He had a 67.6% completion percentage and 30 touchdowns to just 7 interceptions. So he really came on last year. He was able to protect the ball, and it's good. Player 2, Will Henderson, the second running back. So he comes out. They lost Robert Henry, who moved on to the NFL, but they came and they've got their featured back with the redshirt sophomore. So watch for him to have a big season here. He had he totaled 866 yards, averaging 6.9 yards per carry. So he scored 6 touchdowns as well with splitting carries. So be on the lookout for him. Wide receiver AJ Wilson as well. He came out and a year ago, and he had a good thing. So they lost Devin McKern to Ohio State, unfortunately. So that was a big loss. Ohio State gained a good receiver there, but he had 31 receptions for 528 yards and 4 touchdowns last year. So 60 wide receiver. Be on the lookout for him. You've got linebacker Brandon Tucker as well, who's flipping over to the defensive side of the ball, and he's going to be making an impact. So he's a redshirt senior. He played in all 13 games for the Roadrunners last year. He had a pair of starts. He had 39 tackles, 25 of those solo, 3 TFLs, and a forced fumble. So he's looking to add on to that experience and come out. And then defensive lineman Jeremiah Bailey as well. So they got an incoming transfer here who's going to be a big part of it. He came over from Eastern Kentucky as well. He recorded 105 total sacks, 43 solo stops, 14 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Excuse me. He had a couple pass breakups, and he has got 1 fumble recovery in 38 career games. So you got some names there that are going to make this UTSA team really come in. Like I said, UTSA is the oldest average football team in all of America. So, anyways, 5 guys to look out there for UTSA football.
Go get them, Roadrunners.
Yep, go get them.
We're behind you. We're behind you, Coach Traylor.
Yeah, we are. Come interview with us. Don't ignore the email. Don't ignore the email. Oh, don't ignore it. All right. So Conference USA?
Yep.
Give me Liberty.
Give me the boy. It's hard not to just pick the Bearcats, but I know that we're going to be absolute dog poop this year. So give me the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers.
The Western Kentucky. I like it. That's a great name. The Hilltoppers. I love it.
Hell yeah.
I love that name. That's a great one. All right. Western Kentucky and Liberty. Fair enough. Okay, moving from there. So then we'll move over to the MAC. Give me Miami, Ohio. They Miami, Ohio has always been they've been a team there that has held around. Yeah, I think Miami, Ohio is going to take it this year.
I think that, man, this was a tough conference. I'm going to go with the Central Michigan Chippewas. The Chippewas have also been a historically solid program. I think they get back to prominence. They fell off the past couple of years.
The Chippewas. Let's see here.
Mountain
so then
West.
we go to the Mountain West. Yep, Mountain West. So you've got. So for those that don't know, in the Mountain West, you've got teams like UNLV, New Mexico, North Dakota State moved up to the Mountain West here recently. It's going to be a highly anticipated FBS transfer. You have Hawaii, Air Force is in this, Wyoming, Nevada, Northern Illinois is here, and UTEP as well is going to do it. I'm going to tell you this, UTEP probably finishes last. So
dang, no respect for the Miners?
No respect for the Miners. Yep.
Jeez.
I think in this season, it's going to kind of be a toss-up. I don't know. Hard to pick a New Mexico team. Hard to pick a Lobo team. Give me UNLV. Screw it. I'm going to go with Dan Mullen and the boys.
Yeah, the Running Rebels were actually putting something together towards the end of the season, but I'm going to go with the newcomer. The North Dakota State Bison, I think they will come out and sock all of these guys right in the mouth. I don't think they're prepared for what these boys bring to the table.
Hey, if the Bisons can pull it off, I'd love it. But those Running Rebels were averaging 34.1 points per game last year. So that's a deal. So, but if the Bison can come out and shock the world, I'm all for it.
I think they're going to shock some people.
Yep. Out of this group of 5 teams, who do you think has the best chance of making the CFP? If Navy does win the American, I think Navy gets in. And then, well, we didn't even talk about the Pac-12 actually.
You skipped the State 12.
You got the Pac-12. We did State 12. Boise State's my pick in the Pac-12.
I'm gonna stick true to the state of Texas on this one. I think the Texas State Bobcats are going to surprise some folks this year. They have a quarterback that is a certified dog.
And I'm glad you brought that because I've got another 5 list here for us, folks. Another 5 players to make sure that you watch for the Texas State Bobcats here. And starting off with the quarterback, Brad Johnson, right? He has been there. He's in his second season as a starter. He did have a breakout season last year where he tossed for 3,200 yards and 21 touchdowns. He's also a dynamic runner with the football. He totaled 744 yards and 17 scores on the ground. So he can make things happen on the ground, in the air. With him, he's got 2 pair of 1,000-yard receivers here, with Bo Sparks being one of those. Who came up and he led it last year. He totaled 84 receptions for 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns, which were all team highs. And he's a big play waiting to happen. He's averaging over 14 yards per reception and 92.3 yards receiving per game. Remember that college football fantasy. Bo Sparks, remember that right there. Chris Don is the other receiver of the 1,000-yard pair there. And he's a little 5'9" wideout, actually. So he tallied 65 receptions for just over 1,000 yards and 4 touchdowns. He's a big explosive play. He's averaging 15.49 yards per reception and 83 yards per game. And then you have on the other side of the ball, Ryan Nolan. actually as well. He's going to be one of those. He led the team in tackles last year, recording 79 of them. He also had 3 tackles for loss, 2 pass breaks up, and 2 quarterback hits. So he's a safety position there. I failed to mention that. And then you've got defensive lineman Don Terry Russell. Don Terry Russell, literally his full name. He's a 6'5", 228-pound redshirt senior who comes over. He totaled 19 tackles, 5.5 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks, and he was second on the team with the 4.5 sacks, and he forced a fumble last year as well. So there's your 5. Remember them: Don Terry Russell, Ryan Nolan, Chris Don, Bo Sparks, and Brad Johnson. Those Bobcats are going to be something to mess with there. You know,
They're going to be a problem.
They will be a problem. So you're going to take Texas State. The Pac-12 is going to carry a little more weight than the other group of 5 schools. So Texas State, if they did, then they would have a good chance of getting into the college football playoff, which would be absolutely bonkers. And then I think the UTSA or Navy would carry more weight if they were able to go undefeated. So
we've got one more group of 5.
Who are we missing?
The Sun Belt.
Oh my gosh. I'm missing the Sun Belt. Give me James Madison.
Oh, sticking with the Dukes.
Yes, I am. Give me the Dukes.
Yeah.
They're not gonna let Cignetti get all the glory.
You're right. I'm gonna go with the Dukes also. I like the Dukes. I like what they bring to the table.
Yeah. I think they're just they're probably the most established in the Sun Belt right now. So they're probably the betting favorites too, if you went and looked, if I had to guess. So
that'd be my guess.
Yeah.
So you got Texas State and
I got Texas State finishing second in the Pac-12.
Oh.
I think that's going to be a big jump. I think Boise State wins Pac-12.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So who are your 2 group of 5s?
So give me UTSA and Boise State.
Give me Navy and Texas State.
Okay. God, if we could get Jeff Traylor on here and then he goes to the college football playoff,
Could you imagine?
Could you imagine? It ain't gonna happen, but could you imagine? Imagine if it did. Look at us. Who would have thought? Not me. Oh, Chingao. All right. So there it is. There's our wrap up of the conferences for the college football season. Now, we're not going to be done talking about previews in college football. We're still going to break down into it because there's some other teams that we haven't really dove into, but we're still going to be talking about Aggie football. We'll talk about the Red Raiders. We'll talk about some other stuff. We'll talk crap about Ohio State. We'll talk, I didn't mean that. I meant good things. I'm sorry. Good things about the Crimson and Gray. So, anyways, let's talk some NFL. Let's talk some NFL football. What do you say, bud?
Yes.
Let's do it. Some NFL football, man. What do we have here? You want to talk biggest storylines going into the off season? So I'm wearing the star on my helmet. My hat here, and it was a quiet off season for us. So storylines. I don't know. What do we have?
It's very quiet. There's Jerry still saying that he's not done, whatever that means. I don't know what more there is left to be done out there, but he says he's not done yet.
Vita Vea.
You think so?
No.
Everybody thinks it's Max Crosby, but I don't see that happening either.
It could be. I mean, I don't know. I think the Raiders are going to give it at least a little go and see what happens.
Vita Vea doesn't make sense.
No, he doesn't. We've got too many interior defensive linemen. We need somebody along with Deshaun Gray on the outside to circle the wagon. So
yeah. Let's go with top storylines, I guess, going in.
Yeah.
Going into camp.
Yeah. Go for it.
Let's see. I mean, we got the Cleveland Browns with their continued quarterback battle, which is no surprise.
Yeah. So they got a 3 they've got a three-person battle for the quarterback spot with Dylan Gabriel, Shador Sanders, and Deshaun Watson. And if you want to talk about some of the most annoying things that you have to look at, if you're on social media in some aspect, there's going to be a stat out there that on 7-on-7 on air, Shador Sanders went 21 for 23 for 5 million yards and 100 million touchdowns. And it's just going to be like, who gives a dang? You know what I mean? But that quarterback battle right there is one of them that's interesting. I think Cleveland wants Deshaun Watson to win that. If I had to guess, just because they're paying him so much money, and somebody's still trying to save face of paying him all that money and it becoming the colossal failure that it has been thus far. And then, Dylan Gabriel's just getting the short end of the stick on all this, I believe. He's probably not getting a fair shake of it because there's a lot that goes into it. Not only your play on the field, but also what the fans want. And Shador Sanders is clearly a fan favorite as well. They want to see him succeed, which is fine. Nothing against the young man. That's what they want. So I don't see how Deshaun Watson doesn't come into week one as a starter. Shador and Dylan Gabriel are going to get a lot of playing time in the preseason. So they're going to get a lot of opportunity to show that they deserve to be that. But I think we kind of run into similar issue like what the Coyotes have. They all have their own strengths. It's just how do you pick the best one, So.
Yeah, I'm right. I'm right of the same mindset with you, where you spent way too much money and you don't want to look stupid. But I feel like that's kind of already occurred. I wouldn't be surprised to see them go with Shador to start the season, and if it doesn't go well, then Stefanski says no harm, no foul. I pull the plug on it. We go back to Deshaun and give that a try. But
Stefanski doesn't have a lot of leash here to play with either.
No.
Went out. They've got some weapons too on that offensive side of the ball, right? I mean, they got Jerry Jeudy over there. Fannin has come along pretty well. They went out and got Casey Concepcion in the draft. They
Quinshon Judkins.
Yeah, Quinshon Judkins, who's going to be coming back off of injury. There's some, they've got some players over there, and they're not going to, even with the trading of Myles Garrett and the capital that they got back and still getting Jared Verse over there on the defensive side of the ball, they're going to have a decent defense this year still. I mean, losing Myles Garrett's huge, but Jared Verse is a very, he's a Pro Bowl player. So He's going to be able to come in and make an impact. So Stefanski is just like any other Cleveland Brown coaches, as much on the hot seat this year as any year to make something happen. So, yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So, I would say another big storyline coming out of this is obviously in Kansas City. What's going to happen with Mahomes? How long is he going to be out for? There's videos of him doing drills in camp. Are they really going to let him go? Did Travis Kelce come back and sign this contract because Mahomes is going to be ready to play week one? Does he actually want to come back and play with Justin Fields for the first month of the season or however long that is, and potentially put themselves in a bad hole to have to dig themselves out of? Is that something he actually wants to do? But what does it look like with Kenneth Walker there? Is he, Kenneth Walker, I think he got less than 200 carries last year. Now, he was a playoff merchant. He came out and he balled out and he did all that stuff. Can't take it away from him, Super Bowl MVP. But he's not, surely he's not going to get less than 200 carries this year. How does he hold up? What does that look like? Can Xavier Worthy, can he catch the ball? Is he just the speed? Can he actually go catch it? What happens with Rashid Rice as well? I think there's a lot of things here Kansas City-wise, and it's easy to doubt them, and it always seems like Andy Reid has a plan, and he comes out and does something. But there's a lot of things here that have to be figured out. Trent McDuffie being traded to the Rams, right? There's a corner piece right there, not a cornerstone piece on your defense, even though he's a corner, that you have to replace. Now, I know they went out and did it in the draft and some different things, but there's only so many Trent McDuffies within the NFL. And you can say, oh, he got older. He did have a down season last year, but I expect a bounce back with the Rams with Trent McDuffie, right? So Kansas City is a huge, storyline going into the year, and Mahomes is obviously surrounded with that.
Yeah,
So
I think Patrick Mahomes being out on the practice field, it was a massive surprise to me when I saw those videos. And it's not just like, he's out there and he's just throwing and little drills where there's no contact, no movement. He's actually, I saw, him pivoting off of that foot, off of that leg that he tore his ACL on, and like really planting and sticking and moving. So for them to have him in that situation, to me, it seems like he's ready to go week one,
yeah, yeah,
which, obviously comes with a lot of risk whenever you tear an ACL, and he's not the youngest quarterback in the league anymore. So uh, obviously that's the big swinging point for this Chiefs team outside of, them protecting him, is him actually being out there. And if he's able to go, I have full faith in Andy Reid finding a scheme where I fully expect them to lean heavily on Kenneth Walker. Now, you mentioned it. He was a playoff merchant, and he's battled injuries throughout his career. So is he going to be that, that back that's able to carry the load for the whole course of a season? That's, to be determined. But I I don't know. My instinct tells me that Andy Reid has a very, very big ace up his sleeve, and that this Kansas City Chiefs team is a sleeping giant right now.
it's hard to doubt a Kansas City Andy Reid and a Mahomes.
Right.
So I'm never gonna put a fork in them until they put the fork in them themselves, I guess. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens there.
What is your expectation? You think he comes out week one?
I really don't know. I don't have a good feel on it that well.
No.
And I can't get a truly reliable source to say one way or the other, right?
Right.
I can't get a true good feel on it. Part of me feels like I go back to the Kelsey thing, that like, why would he come back and sign up to go play a month with Justin Fields
Right.
is in my head kind of what I think. So yeah. And it's nothing against Justin Fields. Like he could probably go out and be formidable for that, but it's just different, right? I guess
Yeah.
at the end of the day. So yeah, we haven't had, I think for the NFL right now, really like in training camp, true training camp, we haven't had a lot of big news here as far as holdouts or anything like that. So right now, no news is good news for the NFL. You're not talking about big holdouts, injuries, anything like that. So that's huge for the NFL right now, going into it. If you look at it, you want to look at, you want coaches on the hot seat. You want to look at Super Bowl odds. You want to talk Cowboys. What do you want to do?
Let's talk coaches on the hot seat.
So that works. That'd get us into the next one, because we're talking about big storylines here. So I've got a list of coaches here that I feel like are going to be on the hot seat for various reasons, and their seat could be almost to the very warm spot, to the hot, to the scalding hot, right? And I think it kind of works its way up. My list goes from very warm to scalding hot here, basically.
Okay.
So the first one that I got here is Harbaugh, John Harbaugh,
Which
out
one?
in with the Chargers. John,
Okay.
Jim's with the
Jim.
Jim. Sorry. Oh my gosh.
Dang, you got
Yeah.
Jim on the mildly warm seat in season 2.
I do have him on the mildly warm seat in season. No, it's a lot more than season 2. This season, shoot, this is like 4.
Oh man, I'm behind. I thought this was season 2.
No, this is like season 4, man, or something.
Mm.
I mean, he's already so we're looking at Harbaugh. I mean, because he's 0-2 in the playoffs already, so this is at least 3. And while they've had some, he has a strong regular season record. They get into the playoffs and they just fall flat on their face, right? So I feel like you only have and Justin Herbert hasn't been helping him any, because they have somebody that a lot of people consider like the upper echelons of the NFL, and he obviously has a ton of talent and he is very good at times, but he falters under certain pressure moments, right? And And it's not only that like he's like throwing boneheaded interceptions, he's just not showing up at the game whatsoever. Essentially, the Chargers team as a whole. So I feel like he is on that worm seat. So does he get fired this season? No, but I think if it goes really bad, he could. Yeah, I think the Chargers are gonna be okay, but I still think he's there on that hot seat. So yeah,
I think I think a lot of it's going to depend on their offensive success, like you mentioned. But I feel like it's definitely going to be different this year because they have Mike McDaniel now, and that's a weird mixture between Jim Harbaugh and Mike McDaniel because Jim
yeah,
Harbaugh is such a old school football guy, and then you have Mike
mm-hmm.
McDaniel, who's your modern hipster football coach. So that's going to be an interesting mesh, and that's quite a leap to go out and do an experiment. But I guess when you've seen the same movie over and over again, you got to try to go for something different. So
Yeah,
it'll be interesting if it works out. I think it could be absolutely dangerous. You have Justin Herbert behind Mike McDaniel is obviously no doubt an offensive guru. I think he can figure something out for it to be successful. So I'm interested to see how that looks between those two.
yeah. Next on the list, I got Kevin O'Connell, the Vikings.
Ooh.
I think this is one that he has been hurt by management decisions, right? Obviously, letting Cousins walk, leaning on McCarthy so hard, that seemingly looking like it's blown up. I don't know if he'll ever get another chance. And then you bring in Kyler Murray now. You're wasting valuable years of Justin Jefferson. You've got a really good defense. You're just not being able to produce. At some point, the Buck's going to hit the road there, and so I think that seat he's on the verge of hot right now. He's still very warm, but he's not on hot for me, but he's there.
Yeah, no, I agree with this one for sure because, like you mentioned, their defense was a very good defense last year. That it obviously was not their lack of success was not because their defense struggled.
Yeah,
Uh, a lot of people were not looking forward to playing that defense. What they were looking forward to was their defense getting to play that offense. And you mentioned it. He's been hampered by letting some decent quarterbacks walk and then coming back with some questionable quarterbacks.
yeah,
But if their offense ends up being decent, maybe he'd get out of that hot seat. But Minnesota is one of those teams too where they have seen success in recent years. So
yeah.
that's where the expectations can kill a man is because they've tasted success. They've almost gotten to the mountaintop. They just haven't gotten there. And when that expectation is for you to be the guy to get them there, then that's really the standard. So I'm in agreement with you on this one.
Well, mine the next few have accomplished more than O'Connell has, and he's not quite on the hot seat yet, but Dan Quinn is getting pretty close there
Oh, I think
already.
Dan Quinn's on it.
Yeah, Dan Quinn is very short leash for
Yep.
him. And even though he's made an appearance in the NFC Championship game, I think the way he's handled some things already, if this goes sour and it's one of those things again, it's just like the Justin Jefferson thing. I don't know if you waste a player that's not in his prime yet, but a young player and potential uh, superstar if Jalen, Daniels isn't already a superstar, talent on
Right.
a coach that is a lame duck, so to speak. So
Yeah, I think the thing that old Dan has working against him is that he's not necessarily the sexy hire that you would think whenever
mm-mm.
you have a Ferrari at quarterback.
Yeah,
And so if you're not reaching that pinnacle and you have a defensive minded head coach, obviously the initial thought is we have this star quarterback, let's go get us one of those sexy offensive coaches that's gonna, push us over the needle and make our games exciting.
Q Cliff King,
That would not surprise me.
Q Cliff Kingsbury.
That would not surprise me.
Yeah, yeah, they'd want somebody that the women think are sexy out there. Yeah. Speaking of success and a short lease, this man, he's probably on the hot seat. He's very close. But Nick Sirianni, is
Oh,
on the hot seat for the Philadelphia
that was
Eagles.
who I thought you were going to say.
Yes, Nick Sirianni is
Oh,
on the and they've done it already with the Super Bowl winning coach. They didn't give them a very long leash. As soon as they saw that it was regressing, they pulled the plug on old uh, I forget his name because I hate the Eagles. I don't even think about.
Doug Peterson.
There you go, Doug Peterson, and then he went and shit the bed in Jacksonville too. So, yeah.
No,
So Nick
I
Sirianni is
think
on it. I think. Yeah, I think the way that it's not only the quality of play on the field. I think it's the in-house stuff that they've dealt with, the negative media that they dealt with, and no matter how trashy of a city Philadelphia is, they somewhat try to keep it a respectable organization. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think obviously that is a very passionate fan base who probably going to get attacked for this, but they overhype themselves quite a bit, and
Yep.
they see themselves through rose-colored glasses for sure. Even when they're not that good, they think they're the greatest thing ever, or that they should be. And there's always a fall guy, and that seems to be the head coach in almost every sports team that they have. So,
Yeah.
and I don't think Nick's done a bad job. I mean, I think Nick anywhere else
I
he would have a
hate Nick
very long
Sirianni.
leash.
I
Why?
hate Nick Sirianni. I hate that. I hate that guy. I hope when he goes, I hope Dom goes too. I hate I hate seeing both of those guys, man. Yeah.
No, but unfortunately, I am in agreement. I think Nick is on a very short leash, mainly because what was the biggest excuse last year was A.J. Brown is a distraction. He's a problem.
Yeah.
Constant news. Well, that's gone now. So now, if it's not looking great right away, there's not another fall guy to point in a direction other than either Jalen Hurts or Nick Sirianni, and I don't think it's going to be Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. A.J. Brown can go be a distraction with his new head coach. They can go both. You get Aaron Rodgers on that up there. So, anyways, scalding hot. I got 3 on the scalding hot seat.
Okay.
Starting off with Zach Taylor, Cincinnati Bengals. Scalding hot. He has got, you talk about somebody that's got talent. They went out and got Dexter Lawrence as well to get on the defensive side of the ball. Now, I still think they lack a few pieces, but they did make some moves. But when you have a player, Joe Burrow, you're paying 2 receivers in T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. You were there once. You went to the Super Bowl, and you were actually very close from, to actually winning the thing. Like you a play away. If Aaron Donald's not on the other team, potentially Joe Burrow hits that throw. So Zach Taylor, he's had a long leash. The Bengals always give their head coaches long leashes, or at least the past 2. And I think it's put up or shut up time.
Yeah,
So.
No, I'm in agreement with that one. I think poor Zach, he had a lot of success early on, and he caught some bad breaks with some injuries and stuff. But I'm in full agreement. This is a make it or break it season for him. I think last year I was surprised that they retained him after last year.
Yep.
I think most of the fan base was ready to move on from him.
Yeah, 100%. Scalding hot, Todd Bowles, Tampa Bay. Scalding hot. You've got things seemingly falling apart there too.
Yeah.
And with Vita Vea wanting out, and this isn't all on Todd, but you've got that. You've got the Baker situation now with the contract, and I know he's not the one negotiating the contract, but it's going to be interesting to see how this team dynamic starts to shift up now that you have a player, one of your star players asking for a trade, and then you have your other star quarterback in the media talking about contract and stuff like that. How does this locker room truly hold together? And Todd Bowles was never the, you talk about sexy hires or anything like that. I just don't know what that really looks like. So Todd Bowles is there, scalding hot.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm in full agreement with that one too, because again, a lot of these guys that are on the hot seat are guys that had success in recent years. But the problem is that once you taste success, you want the whole thing. You don't want just taste anymore. Yeah. And I don't know. That's an ugly situation going on right now over there in Tampa.
Yep. Last guy on the scalding hot list, and I think that he got the shit into the stick, but Aaron Glenn with the Jets. if they do another 3-win season, I don't think if there's got to be some kind of improvement, and I think it's got to be a decent improvement as well.
Yeah.
And he's a guy that wasn't given really a lot to work with either. But Aaron Glenn makes that list. So,
looking back on it, there were some people that said this was a kind of a fall guy hire, and it wasn't very loud, but now looking back on it, it seems like maybe it was, because they did not set him up for success at all.
Mm-mm.
And I don't know, because initially the reports were that, they were going to give him time to let it build out like they did in Detroit. But, it's also the New York Jets, who, again, are another one of those franchises that think they should be way better than they are. And really, if anybody looked at that roster, they would see otherwise.
If the Giants somehow, like, they do take that next step with Harbaugh and Jackson Dart and all these guys, and they make a big move, the Jets are going to do something.
Oh, yeah.
They hate playing. They hate being second fiddle. So that's just the way it's going to go. So anyways, coaches on the hot seats, starting warm to scolding. You got Jim Harbaugh, Kevin O'Connell, Dan Quinn, Nick Sirianni, Zach Taylor that starts off our scolding hot, Todd Bowles, and then Aaron Glenn. So there they are. There they are.
Boom.
Anyways, yeah, roasted. Man, let's talk Cowboys football. I got to talk. I got to do it. I got to do it. We'll do some previews, and then we'll talk about odds. We'll do some prop bet odds to finish it off. How about that?
That sounds good.
But man, so training camp started, and let me tell you how excited I am, Emilio. I've been talking about this for the past few days, haven't I?
Yeah, you have.
And I think that my fandom, the optimism, the hopefulness is building up way too quickly, and I'm actually worrying myself here. Myself here. Yes. There has been a lot of talk about this new look defense and what they've got and what they're doing. And everybody knows, I mean, they know who they went out and got, obviously, adding somebody like Kobe Durant, going out and getting Rashawn Gary. They got Quentin Williams last year. They got Kenny Clark. Overshown's coming back off of the injury. They got Malachi Lawrence in the draft. Johnson Barham out of Michigan. We may actually have one Michigan defensive player that's not absolute dog shit for once. Caleb Downs in the draft. He's looking like he's making plays all over the field from the videos that I'm seeing. They were just helmets, and then they went to shell, and then they finally today went to full pads, and they were flying around, popping each other, doing that. D Winters at the other linebacker spots, looking like he's going to be something. Like I mentioned, Kobe Durant has got that going. They've got Siobhan Revel who's fighting for it. So there's a lot of really positive things here that are happening. But I've got a couple deals here. I guess my I don't know if I did 5 or if I did 4. So I did 5. No, I did 4. So I got a 4 list for you. I'm going down from my 5. Maybe I should keep my 5 things here, but I got 4. So here's the biggest thing of Cowboys training camp so far from week 1 and then the first day of pads that I've taken away from it, and that just from what I've seen, the offense is picking up right where it left off, which I think a lot of people probably expected. Obviously, they're calling themselves Gotti now. That's what they nicknamed their offense. Greatest offense there is.
Oh, my God.
Right? So that's their nickname. That's what they're calling themselves. You've got, you talk about where they are. Obviously, Dak Prescott throwing for, over 3,500 yards last year. You had George Pickens, who had over 1,400 yards receiving. CeeDee Lamb had over 1,000 yards. Javonte Williams rushed for over 1,000 yards. Ferguson was a top 5 tight end. You've got that offensive line that's actually finally gelling together. Tyler Guyton looks like he's grown this year, and there was going to be a competition at left tackle, and he's taken all the snaps, and he's held his own so far. So it looks like we've gotten that solidified on the front, and that's going to happen. Now, the one thing that they had been missing is that third receiver. Obviously, Kevon Turpin had come in, and he's been kind of a gadget player. It helped him with some different options. But the one player that started coming on last year, and Ryan Flo, he has really, solidified himself this camp so far as that third receiver. He came really, ready to ball. He worked out tirelessly with Dak in the offseason, and he has been making play after play so far in training camp. They've said that he is closer to CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens right now than he is to your average NFL wide receiver. Right. So that's saying a lot from, and this isn't just Cowboys people in the building. This is other people that are just watching it, right? CD went on the record the other day and said that he'll be the third 1,000-yard wide receiver for the Cowboys, as in they'll have 3 this year. And Ryan Flournoy is going to be that third. So you got some deep fantasy, roots there. Watch out for Ryan Flo. So I guess we shouldn't have traded that third-round pick for Jonathan Mingo, though. So hindsight, that one wasn't a good one, Jerry. Come on, Bubba. Second thing, like I talked about, Deshaun Barham is making a name for himself already. Now, there was a lot we talked about. It was just in helmets, and then it went to shell, and then the first day of pads. He has been all over the place. I mean, they're playing him on outside linebacker off the ball there. He has shown that he can rush. He's shown that he can play inside the tackles on a linebacker spot. He had, he's been making plays all over the field, whether it's been getting in the backfield and getting tackles for losses, filling gaps, doing those kind of things. He had a pass breakup in the end zone from that Dak was targeting CD on. So he was making plays in coverage. He's just, he's come out. He has shown that he's physically ready. He is mentally there. He's trying to take that next step. And I don't know if he's necessarily going to be a starter, but he's going to be a big contributor here. And he has, he's a guy that's got a lot of people buzzing. There's going to be a lot of people talking about him as we go into the preseason and go into the NFL season. He's going to be a big contributor, and you're only going to continue to see his role grow and grow and grow. So finally, a Michigan boy to come across and help us out there. So thanks for nothing, Taco.
Mozzie.
Other one, Rashawn Gary, obviously, veteran leadership coming out, being able to seal the end of the line there. He was the first guy in camp that caused a fumble in one of the team drills. He's just showing that he is not going to necessarily be the dud that a lot of Cowboys fans in general thought that he was going to be. I think that he's going to have a huge impact on this team. They are across the board on the defensive line. This went from one of the weakest units that we've had in a long time. The defensive line has always been an issue to an absolute strength that we have, right? So within having Gary and Williams and Clark, those guys along the defensive line is definitely one of the big things. And I think it's going to help our lack of depth at the linebacker spot tremendously, with those guys being able to hold up offensive linemen and blocks and things of that nature to get them run. So, and then fourth, I've got Kobe Durant. So he's holding down cornerback 2 right now, and he has come out and he's making some plays. Caught a lot of heat because he was the one that was wearing number 2, and everybody wanted him to give the number to Caleb Downs, which never happened. But he has been making some really good plays. He's obviously getting to go against 2 of the best receivers in the NFL in Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. And he's coming over from the Rams, where he had a kind of up and down season last year. And so far throughout camp, he has proven that he may pay off to be, a good signing, short-term signing that'll help us out this year. Deron Bland looks like he's holding down cornerback 1, and then Durant is holding off Siobhan Revel for that cornerback 2 position right there. So those are big battles to look at there. That cornerback position. You've got what's going to happen with the defensive, side of the ball, because you're going to have up to 7 new starters on the defensive side of the ball. There's a lot more talking that's going on. Christian Parker has got these guys playing with energy. He's got them trash talking. The communication across the board, what they talk about is just people talking of where they need to be, what they're doing. Last year, you saw on numerous big plays where there was no communication whatsoever. Kenneth Murray was running around out there, both thumbs up his ass, not going on what's going on. So, yeah. So,
I'm gonna miss him.
yeah, I'm not. That guy was, oh my gosh. That guy was tough. So just the communication alone, Christian Parker is a huge plus to us this year. It looks like the team has really adapted to him and going to help us get over this Matty Rufus situation.
Not
So,
both thumbs
yeah.
up.
Yeah. Not just one. He had both of them. So, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit. That's good stuff.
So, that's the truth.
No, but in all reality, if that communication is better, then that's a good sign for your Cowboys, because there was multiple times it looked bad last year.
Where it was terrible. And we don't need a top 10 defense. We just need top 20, you know. We just don't need to be 32, boys. We just don't need to be 32. So,
jeez.
anyways, but yeah. So, that's my Cowboy stuff. We're going to continue to talk Cowboys and all that, and Emilio hates it, and I apologize, but I can't help it. So,
No. Right now, this is what I fully expect. I expect the optimism. I expect the early parade celebration.
There's no parade here. There's no parade.
Parade planning. I can see it. There's a change in you, and it's happening already, and it's fine. I'll just be waiting come week 8, week 9.
Avery hates it too. She's always saying, my wife Avery is always telling me, all they do is leave the pieces here for me to have to pick up afterwards. And I'm sure a lot of you out there are the same way. And I don't know. It's just everybody always says, why am I a Cowboys fan? And I don't know. I was born this way. I was born with this disorder. I can't help it. So it's not something you choose. It's something you're born into. But anyways, man, let's look at some prospects before we wrap it up here.
Yep.
Where we're going. So I think something that we want to do, we've talked about, is kind of get into maybe a little more prop bets and look at our top, locks for the week as we go through this. And this is something for the season that we go. So who do you think right now? This is all from FanDuel. Who is the betting favorite for the Super Bowl this year?
Oh, that's easy. The Los Angeles Rams.
The Los Angeles Rams are the top betting at plus 550, and it's the team that we did not talk about, but obviously they are bringing back a lot of players that they had last year. You have the reigning MVP in Matthew Stafford. You've got Puka Nacua. You've got Kyron Williams. You've got Blake Corum. You have Devontae Adams. You got Terrence Ferguson over there, and then you go and add Myles Garrett on the other side of the ball. Trent McDuffie, potential of Aaron Donald coming back. There are stars everywhere. It's like the Dodgers, but just the football.
Right.
So, yep. So there we are. Who do you got guesses for 2, 3, and 4?
My next guess is the Buffalo Bills.
They're 3.
Okay. Then number 2 has got to be the Kansas City Chiefs.
Nope, I was wrong. The Bills actually tied for second. It's them and the Seattle Seahawks at plus 1,100.
Wow, I'm surprised by that.
Followed by the Ravens at 1,200, Chargers at 16, Chiefs at 16, the Patriots at 1,700, and the Eagles at 1,700. Yes,
dang.
Sir. So all the way down, the Cowboys are plus 2,200. If you want to get on that, $2,200. If you're looking for your Saints, Emilio, they are plus 8,000.
Hey, that's almost plus 10,000.
Yep. Anybody gives you 10-1 odds, you take them every time. Your bottom 2 teams, got any guesses?
I'm going to say the New York Jets and the Tennessee Titans.
No, sir. So Jets were close. You've got the bottom 2 teams both at plus 75,000. Arizona Cardinals and the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, wow. The Dolphins that far down? That's crazy.
Yep. To miss the playoffs, the Dolphins are minus 4,000.
That's pretty good.
In the betting odds. Followed by the Jets at minus 1,200. The Raiders at minus 750. The Browns at minus 950, actually. So you can't get positive odds until the Bengals at plus 162 there. If you look at the other side to miss the playoffs, on the plus side, I guess the best bet you can get there is the Bills at plus 260. On the other side in the NFC, you've got the Cardinals that are minus 4,500. followed by the Giants, the Panthers, the Saints, and then the Commanders at 290. If you go down, you've got the Los Angeles Rams at plus. It doesn't give me. I think it's plus 280 is what it is there for the Rams. So you go out there and injury happens to Matthew Stafford, you could be a rich person right there if you bet enough money there. So to make the playoffs, obviously the Bills, the Ravens, Patriots, Chiefs, they're all at the top of that on that list. The Rams, Lions, Seahawks, and Eagles at the top of the list for the NFC. If you bet the Cardinals, you got plus 2,000 odds there. On the Dolphins, you got plus 1,500. The Jets plus 750. The Raiders at plus 530. Now, that's a good bet right there. If you want to go say, hey, a team that could just potentially come out, and they lack wide receiver help, but, Kirko Bang's out there. That defense is doing his thing. Brock Bowers, Ashton Genty. You never know. You never know what could happen. And it's not like the AFC West right now is like rolling.
Yeah.
They're not. You got the Broncos that are going to be really good again. The Chargers will be good. And then the Chiefs, you would think at some point are going to be good. But there's some opportunity to wiggle through there and get into the playoffs. Texans, for you Texans plans plus or minus 180 there to make the playoffs.
A lot of people were high on the Texans until they saw that video of C.J. Stroud walking into the building.
Yeah.
That probably dropped their odds quite a bit.
Yeah, that did drop their odds quite a bit. Oh, boy, it did not look athletic whatsoever. That was pretty bad. That was pretty bad, for sure.
I thought it was fake at first.
Yeah. Favorite for the MVP by FanDuel. Can I guess?
MVP, I'm going to say Josh Allen is top MVP.
No, sir. Josh Allen's not even on this list, so he may be, but he's not on the list that I got right here. It's Lamar Jackson at plus 850.
Why?
I don't know. Followed by Joe Burrow, Matthew Stafford, Justin Herbert, and Drake May. So I imagine that Josh Allen is supposed to be on this list, but he's not. So
go bet on Josh Allen to win MVP right now.
I would 100%. Defensive Player of the Year. Any guesses?
I'm going to say Myles Garrett.
Yeah, Myles Garrett plus 400, followed by Will Anderson Jr. at plus 750, Aiden Hutchinson at plus 1,000, Nick Bontio, Max Crosby, Jalen Carter. Yep. So, Offensive Player of the Year. You won't guess it.
Offensive Player of the Year. Puka Nacua.
Nope. Puka Nacua comes in fourth. You got Jamar Gibbs at plus 650. Followed by Bijan Robinson at plus 900, Jamar Chase at plus 1,000, Puka at 1,300, Christian McCaffrey at 16, and then Jackson Smith and Jigba at plus 1,800. If I was a bet man, I would go put some money on Christian McCaffrey right there. But yeah, you can't do FanDuel here in Texas, but you can do Kalshi, so go have at it.
And Underdog.
Hey, Underdog Kalshi, what's up? What's up? We're gonna be doing a gambling segment all the time. So, Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Ooh, Offensive Rookie of the Year is going to be. Let me think about this one for a second. I'm gonna say, not Carnell Tate. Man, that's a tough one. You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb and say Jordan Tyson.
Jordan Tyson, he's on here, but Jeremiah Love at plus 450, followed by Fernando Mendoza at the same. Jordan Tyson plus 650. He's third there, tied with Carnell Tate. And then Jared and Price plus 700 and Malachi Lemon at plus 1,300. Defensive Player of the Year here, Ruben Bain Jr. plus 470, followed by David Bailey at plus 700 or plus 600. Caleb Downs at plus 700.
Arvell Reese
plus 800. Sonny Styles plus 850. And Mazador Delane at plus 1,000. Comeback Player of the Year is Patrick Mahomes plus 185. I really think he's going to. Comeback Player of the Year can be anything, man.
Listen, that pisses me off. That's not a Comeback Player of the Year. That's horseshit. But obviously, if they're giving you that, take it.
Yeah, exactly. Like Kim Kardashian's story. Oh,
Man.
you got Patrick Mahomes plus 185, Jaden Daniels plus 550, Kyler Murray plus 600, Aaron Donald plus 900. So now Aaron Donald's an actual comeback player because he retired.
Now that
Kyler
would
Murray,
yeah.
Kyler Murray, did he get hurt or did he get benched?
He got benched.
Or
Well, he got hurt
he
and then he
got
got
benched.
benched.
Yeah, so Daniel Jones, comeback player because he got injured, and then Malik Neighbors plus 1900. And then coach of the year. Any guesses?
Ooh, coach of the year. Let me think. No, I don't have any good guesses.
John Harbaugh plus 650.
Wow.
Yep. Followed by Jesse Minter at plus 850. Kevin Stefanski plus 1400. Kellen Moore at plus 1400. Joe Brady plus 1500. Ben Johnson at plus 1500.
Hey, don't sleep on that Kellen Moore pick.
Yeah, I know. Just so you know, Shoddy was next at plus 1600 there.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Couldn't leave that one out. So there's some prop bets for you for the season to start. We'll get into it more. We'll start looking as they get into the actual season and we get into games. It will be much better to look at props when we're saying over, under on receiving yards, touchdowns, carries, all that good stuff. There's way better things to look at there. So anyways, what do you think? It's time to wrap her up?
Yeah, I mean, I think we are. How many days away are we from the first preseason game now?
We are. When they're listening to this, we will be 2 days away.
Let's go. We'll get
2
our
days
first
away.
look at Jeremiah Love on an NFL roster. From what I've seen so far, it hasn't looked great.
Yeah, I don't think we'll actually see him play.
You don't think so?
I'll be interested. No, I don't think so. But I did see that. Gosh, there's a veteran that's going to get the start.
Jacoby
I can't remember who it is. No. Yeah.
Carson Beck. He should be considered a veteran. He's almost as old as Jacoby Brissett.
He is. No, it was Kenny Pickett's going to get the start at
cool.
quarterback.
There we go.
Yep. Before giving way to backup Haynes King.
Haynes King. I love to see it.
Yep. You're going to get to see some Haynes King in the Carolina Panthers Thursday. He's going to play a majority of the remaining. And then Haynes King will be cut the following week. So
you don't know that, man. He could make the roster.
No, I know. No, I know that. That's just, you seen Haynes King throw the football? I have. They ain't running no. They ain't running no. They're not running no Georgia Tech quarterback sneak the whole game. So, or quarterback draw, excuse me. But
I feel like it's important for those people that aren't avid football fans, that are just casual football fans. Don't buy into our hype and excitement about the preseason game. It's very ugly. It's very, very ugly.
It is.
Especially this Hall of Fame game. You're going to see about 45 penalties, most of them offsides, false starts. But if you're a big football fan, you just know.
I'll be watching. And if there's a over-under bet on Haynes King, 150 passing yards, I'm taking the over, just so you know. I'm riding with that shit.
I'm taking at least one interception.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, for sure. Probably interception and a fumble. So,
yeah.
And then he's cut the following week. So,
I don't
part of the first rush.
I don't like the
part
of
the first rush.
His way.
Yeah, no. If he comes and becomes a guest on the show, I'll take it all back. But until then. But anyways. Well, cool. Well, that's it. That's all we got, guys. We appreciate you joining us here. We'll be back next week. Actually, we may be back this week. You never know. We may have another interview here that we're going to pop up with. We'll let you know. And, we'll go from there. But we appreciate you joining us here. If you stuck with us the whole time, make sure to go to check out our sponsors, Brewster Bird Hunts. Check us out on all our social media, all that good stuff. We greatly appreciate all the support, everything like that. You can catch this full episode back. I guess you'd already listened to it, but with Spotify, YouTube, all that good stuff, right? So we'll have clips of it all as well. Give us a like, give us a follow, all that good stuff. Support means a lot. So anyways, Good, Emilio?
I'm all good.
All right. Well, this has been another episode of In-Laws and Out of Bounds. Remember that Jesus is the light, the way, and the truth. He loves you always. And guys, we will catch you next time. Peace.